Have you ever noticed how something as small as ants entering your home can stir different reactions in people? For most of us, it is nothing more than an inconvenience. Some rush to kill them, others try to block their path, and many dismiss the moment as unimportant. After all, what could ants possibly mean? They are only tiny creatures searching for crumbs, but Sufi masters, like Ibn Arabi, saw the world through a different lens. For him, nothing in creation is random. Not the falling of a leaf, not the whisper of the wind, and certainly not the arrival of ants in your home. He taught that the universe is not a series of accidents. It is a carefully written script, every detail flowing from divine wisdom. And every moment you experience, no matter how small, carries meaning for you. Think about it for a moment. What if the ants that appear in your kitchen or crawl across your floor are not simply pests? What if they are messengers, silent signs pointing you toward a truth you have overlooked? Ibn Arabi believed that the whole world is a book, and every creature is a word written by God. To read the world is to read his language. To ignore it is to miss an opportunity for guidance. When we pause to see the world in this way, even the tiniest events come alive with depth. Suddenly, the ants before you are no longer meaningless. They are carrying a message, not in spoken words, but in their very presence. And the real question becomes, what are they here to tell me? Sufi thought emphasizes that what is visible on the surface is only the outer shell of reality. Behind every form lies a hidden wisdom. Outwardly, ants are insects in search of food. Inwardly, they embody patience, discipline, effort, and trust, qualities that echo the divine order written into creation. Their small bodies carry immense spiritual meaning. Ibn Arabi often reminded his students that the world is filled with signs, ayat, just as the Quran is filled with verses. Both the book of scripture and the book of creation are invitations to reflect, to understand, to awaken. Ants crossing your path, then, are not simply a matter of biology. They are verses from the living book of existence, asking you to pause and read them. And this is where the journey begins. Because the presence of ants in your home could be telling you something very personal. Maybe it is a reminder to restore order in your life. Maybe it is pointing to blessings that are about to unfold. Or maybe it is an invitation to patience, preparation, or trust in God's timing. What seems small may actually be the first step into a deeper spiritual awakening. Sufism teaches us to live with awareness, to notice the divine whispers hidden in ordinary events. For Ibn Arabi, nothing was insignificant. The smallest detail could be a key unlocking a vast spiritual reality. Hence, with their endless motion, their harmony, their discipline, become a mirror reflecting truths about our own journey. So the next time you see them, instead of brushing the moment aside, try to pause. Look closer. Ask yourself, what lesson lies here for me? Because perhaps in that very moment, God is speaking to you, and this is the vision we will explore. The hidden meaning of ants in the light of Ibn Arabi's teachings. A simple event in nature may hold profound wisdom for your soul. Let us walk together into this reflection, because once you understand, you will never see ants the same way again. In the vision of Ibn Arabi, there is no such thing as coincidence. Every leaf that falls, every drop of rain that touches the earth, every bird that flies across the sky, each of these is part of a divine arrangement. The same applies to the smallest creatures, even ants that walk across your floor. What may appear to you as a random, trivial event is, in reality, a line written in the grand script of existence. This perspective challenges the way we usually think. Most of us separate events into categories. Some we see as important, others as unimportant. But in the Sufi view, such separation blinds us to God's presence in every detail. To say this is random is, in a way, to close your eyes to the wisdom of the Creator. Ibn Arabi reminds us that the universe is a mirror reflecting divine intention. If you look carefully, you begin to see that even the smallest events are purposeful signs placed along your path. So when ants appear in your home, do not dismiss them as meaningless intruders. Their arrival is part of the same divine order that governs the stars in the heavens. To recognize this is to shift from a life of heedlessness to a life of awareness. It is to live with the certainty that every moment, no matter how small, carries a hidden lesson tailored for your journey. In truth, the ants are not there by chance. They are there because God willed it so. Ibn Arabi often said, "Everything in existence speaks in the language of its creator." This means that the world around us is not silent. It is constantly speaking, constantly reminding, constantly teaching. The mountains speak of stability. The rivers whisper of flow and renewal. The stars reveal the vastness of divine majesty. Even ants, small as they are, carry their own message. They are not mute creatures crawling without meaning. Their very being is a form of speech, a verse in the grand book of creation. But the question is, are we listening? Most people walk through life deaf to this language. They see only appearances, an insect searching for food, a shadow moving on the ground. Yet for Ibn Arabi, such a view is like seeing the letters of a book without understanding the words. The ant's presence is not only about biology, it is about metaphysics. Through them, God may be telling you something about patience, effort, community, or even sustenance. To ignore this is to miss the voice of creation itself. When you begin to see the world as a divine language, everything changes. Ants no longer appear as mere insects. They become signs, reminders, and teachers. Their silent movement becomes a form of speech. Their order and harmony become a message. Each creature you encounter is a word written by God, and together they form sentences, stories, and lessons meant to guide you. The more you open your inner ear, the more you begin to hear that everything is alive with meaning. If there is one thing we all notice about ants, it is their tireless movement. They are always at work, carrying crumbs, building tunnels, storing food. Never do we see them sitting idle. Ibn Arabi and the Sufi masters looked at this effort not just as an instinct of nature, but as a reflection of divine wisdom. Ants embody the principle of striving, of putting forth consistent effort, no matter how small the task may seem. Their world is built on persistence, and through them we are reminded that success is not born of laziness, but of steady, humble work. In Sufi teaching, effort, mujahada, is an essential step on the spiritual path. The journey to God is not made in one giant leap. It is made through small, continuous actions, prayer by prayer, reflection by reflection, act of service by act of service. Ants mirror this truth in their movement. Each one carries a load that may look tiny, yet together their collective effort builds something vast. Likewise, your small acts of sincerity may seem insignificant, but before God they carry great weight. When ants appear in your home, it could be a subtle reminder that you too are called to effort. Maybe you've been putting off your duties, delaying the work you know you need to do. Maybe you've lost energy in your spiritual practice. Ants tell you without words that life moves forward through persistence. Their presence whispers, keep going even if your steps are small. Keep working, for effort is itself an act of worship. One of the most striking qualities of ants is the way they live and move together. Rarely do you see an ant alone. They form lines, colonies, and networks, each one serving a purpose within the whole. To Ibn Arabi, this was not only a wonder of nature, but also a reflection of divine order. Ants remind us that life is not meant to be lived in isolation. Just as they thrive in community, so too does the human soul flourish in connection with family, with society, and with the wider creation of God. In Sufi thought, the concept of Jama'ah, the collective, is deeply valued. Spiritual growth is not only about the self, but about belonging to something greater. Every ant contributes to its community, no matter how small its role may seem. One gathers food, another guards the nest, another builds the tunnels. None of them asks for glory, and none lives only for itself. This mirrors the way human beings are meant to function, each with unique responsibilities, each part of a larger whole. True strength comes not from selfishness, but from unity. So when ants appear in your home, they may be carrying this message. Do not neglect your community. Perhaps you've been too focused on yourself, forgetting the bonds of family, neighbors, or even the wider ummah. Perhaps God is reminding you to return to service, to give back, to live with awareness that your life is woven into the lives of others. And teach us that no single member can survive without the colony, just as no person can truly thrive without connection. Their silent presence may be urging you to restore harmony in your relationships and to remember that unity is itself a divine sign. If you've ever paused to watch ants closely, you'll notice something remarkable. Their lives are filled with precision. They move in lines, follow paths, and carry out their roles without chaos. There is no wasted motion, no aimless wandering. Every ant knows its task, and together they create harmony. Ibn Arabi would see this not as a simple instinct of nature, but as a mirror of divine order. For him, the universe itself is arranged with balance. Planets orbit with precision. The seasons follow cycles, and even the smallest creatures act within a design that reflects God's wisdom. In Sufi thought, order is not merely about outward structure, it is about alignment. Just as the stars are aligned in their orbits, the human heart must also be aligned with its purpose. Disorder in the soul often shows up as disorder in life, confusion, neglect, scattered intentions. The ants remind us that life thrives when there is structure, when each part finds its rightful place. They teach that order is not about rigidity, but about harmony, each movement fitting into the whole with purpose. So when ants appear in your home, their presence may be more than an ecological event. It could be a quiet signal that your own life has slipped into disorder. Maybe you've been neglecting your routines, your prayers, your responsibilities, or the balance between work and rest. Ants may be reminding you to restore rhythm to your days, to bring back the discipline that keeps life flowing smoothly. Their silent order is a reflection of the divine order, calling you to realign your inner world with the harmony God has written into creation. One of the most fascinating qualities of ants is their constant concern for sustenance. They gather, they carry, they store. In summer, they prepare for winter. In times of abundance, they think of times of scarcity. Ibn Arabi would look at this not only as natural instinct, but as a reflection of divine provision. Ants remind us that risk, sustenance, comes from God alone, but he also commands us to seek it with wisdom and foresight. In Sufi thought, sustenance is more than food or wealth. True provision includes health, time, relationships, inner peace, and above all, spiritual nourishment. Ants with their endless storing become a symbol of this broader reality. They remind us to prepare not only for our physical needs, but also for our spiritual ones. Just as they do not wait until winter to act, we too are called to prepare our hearts before hardship comes, to gather the provisions of faith before trials arrive. So when ants appear in your home, it may not simply mean they have found crumbs. It could be a divine reminder that doors of provision are opening, or that you must prepare yourself wisely. Perhaps God is inviting you to reflect on how you handle your resources. Are you wasteful or mindful? Do you only think of worldly gain, or are you storing spiritual treasures as well? Hence teach us that sustenance is always balanced with preparation, and both are gifts from Ar-Razak, the provider. Their presence whispers that God is not only feeding his smallest creatures, but that he is also caring for you in ways you may not yet see. Watch ants for even a short time, and you will see two qualities always present: patience and preparation. They never rush in panic, nor do they wait idly for food to fall into their mouths. Instead, they work quietly, steadily, storing piece by piece, crumb by crumb, without complaint. Ibn Arabi would view this as a reflection of a deeper truth. Patience is not passive waiting, but active surrender to God's timing. It is the art of working with trust, knowing that results unfold only when the Creator wills them to. In Sufi teachings, true patience, sabr, is described as a state of the heart. It is not just enduring hardship, but embracing it with acceptance, recognizing that every season has its purpose. Just as ants prepare in times of ease for the challenges of winter, we too are called to prepare in moments of calm for what may lie ahead. Life is filled with cycles, and wisdom lies in readiness, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So when ants appear in your home, their message may be this: be patient, but do not be idle. Prepare now for what is to come. Perhaps you are entering a stage of waiting, where results seem delayed and progress feels slow. The ants remind you that patience is not wasted time. It is preparation in disguise. Through them, God may be telling you to gather strength, build discipline, and store faith within your heart, so that when trials arrive, you will not be empty-handed. Their steady, tireless rhythm is a lesson. Every small act of preparation today becomes your safeguard tomorrow. Perhaps the most powerful lesson the ants carry is tawakkul, trust in God. Though they work tirelessly, gathering and storing, they never question whether there will be enough. They move with certainty, as if they know the earth itself was created to provide for them. Ibn Arabi would see in this a reflection of the divine mystery. The smallest creature never doubts its provision, while the human being, endowed with intellect and faith, often falls into worry and fear. In Sufi wisdom, tawakkul is not laziness, nor is it blind waiting. It is the balance of effort and surrender. The ant does not sit still, expecting food to appear. It works, but it does so without anxiety, without despair. Its very movement is an act of trust, that the crumbs it seeks will be found, and that the one who sustains the cosmos has already written its provision. Likewise, the seeker of God is called to work in the world, but with a heart free from attachment to outcomes. Effort belongs to us. Results belong to Him. So when ants enter your home, they may be carrying this message: work as if everything depends on you, but trust as if everything depends on God. Perhaps you have been overburdened by worry, trying to control what is beyond your reach. The ants remind you that provision is guaranteed, not because of your strength, but because of His mercy. Their quiet presence teaches a profound truth. The one who feeds the ant in the depths of the earth will not forget you. Trust then in His care, and let your heart rest in His promise. Perhaps the most striking lesson the ant offers is humility. For all its smallness, so small that a careless step could end its life, it moves with dignity, purpose, and determination. Ibn Arabi often reminded seekers that even the tiniest creatures are ayat, signs of God. To ignore them is to overlook a page of the divine book of creation. The ant, though almost invisible, reflects the vastness of divine wisdom. Its very size becomes a lesson. Greatness is not measured by how large we are, but by how faithfully we fulfill the role God has given us. In Sufi thought, arrogance, kibr, is one of the greatest veils that blocks the light of truth. The human being, with intellect and speech, often forgets that he is just one creature among countless others, all dependent on the same sustainer. The ant humbles us. It reminds us that God provides even for the smallest unseen beings, those we might consider insignificant. And if He cares for them, who are we to feel pride or superiority? True spiritual maturity comes when we see ourselves as servants among servants, not rulers over creation. So when ants appear in your home, their silent march may be whispering this message: do not walk upon the earth with arrogance. Remember that the one who created you also created them, and that each has its place in the tapestry of existence. Perhaps they are teaching you to bow inwardly, to soften your pride, and to recognize that humility is the key to nearness with God. For in the end, the smallest ant, by simply living its truth, may be closer to its divine purpose than the proud human who forgets his dependence. When Ibn Arabi looked at the ant, he did not merely see a creature scurrying across the ground. He saw a mirror, a reflection of the human soul, of divine wisdom written in miniature. To him, every ant was a teacher, silently delivering lessons to those with eyes to see. Each quality of the ant, its discipline, patience, community, foresight, humility, and trust, was a fragment of the greater truth, that all of creation is a tapestry of signs pointing back to the Creator. In Sufi thought, the world is like a book, every creature a letter, every movement a verse. The ant becomes a chapter in that book, teaching us about order, reliance, humility, and spiritual readiness. It reminds us that no being is too small to carry divine meaning. Just as the ant works tirelessly, prepares with foresight, and lives in harmony with its community, the seeker of God must also live with purpose, balance, and trust. So when ants appear in your home, perhaps they are not merely insects wandering in search of food. Perhaps they are mirrors sent to awaken you, to remind you of the hidden truths you may have forgotten. They may be calling you to discipline, urging you to community, warning you of disorder, or inviting you to greater trust in God. Their presence may be a sacred nudge, a reminder that every moment, every encounter, every small creature has meaning in the eyes of the divine. For Ibn Arabi, to see an ant was to be humbled, to be reminded, and to be called closer to God. The ant is not only a symbol, it is a spiritual mirror, reflecting what we are and what we are called to become. The ant lives mostly unseen, moving under leaves, hidden in soil, disappearing into cracks. Their world exists alongside ours, yet we rarely notice it. Ibn Arabi often spoke of the alam al-ghaib, the unseen realm, where divine realities are at work beyond our perception. Just as ants labor silently out of sight, so too are countless realities unfolding that remain hidden from human eyes. In Sufi thought, what is hidden is often more powerful than what is visible. The roots of a tree are unseen, yet they give it life. The heart is unseen, yet it directs the body. Likewise, much of divine wisdom is veiled, only revealed to those who look beyond appearances. The ant reminds us that the unseen is not empty. It is full of purpose, order, and mystery. So when ants appear in your home, their presence may be more than a simple visit. They may be pointing you toward awareness of the hidden dimensions of your life. Perhaps you've been focusing too much on the outward, on appearances, on what can be measured or controlled. The ants remind you that what is concealed often matters most. God is working in silence beneath the surface, preparing realities you cannot yet perceive. The unseen world is alive, just as the hidden paths of the ants are full of activity. Their quiet movement is a lesson. Trust not only what you see, but also what you cannot see. For faith itself is about believing in the unseen, and knowing that God's wisdom is always at work, even when it remains veiled to your eyes. If there is one quality that defines the ant, it is persistence. Watch carefully. When its path is blocked, it does not give up. It climbs over, goes around, or finds another way. If one attempt fails, it tries again. This tireless determination reflects a profound truth Ibn Arabi often emphasized, that the seeker of God must be relentless in the journey. Obstacles will come, doors will close, hardships will test the soul. Yet the path to truth belongs only to those who refuse to quit. In Sufi teachings, persistence, istiqamah, is considered greater than fleeting bursts of passion. It is not about moments of inspiration, but about steady, unwavering commitment to the path of remembrance and surrender. Just as the ant never abandons its search for sustenance, the seeker should never abandon the search for divine closeness. The ant becomes a living parable. Success is not given to the strongest or the fastest, but to the one who endures. So when ants appear in your home, perhaps they are reminding you of this sacred persistence. Maybe you have been discouraged by delays or felt your prayers go unanswered. The ants whisper, "Do not stop. Do not lose heart." Every step counts. Every effort is seen. Every movement is recorded by the one who misses nothing. Just as the ant eventually finds its way to food, you too will find your way to God, if only you keep walking with patience, trust, and endurance. When you notice ants entering your home again, you will not see them as before. What once looked like a small, ordinary event now unfolds as a profound reminder of the hidden order guiding all existence. Ibn Arabi taught that nothing in this world happens without meaning. Every breath, every sound, every movement, seen or unseen, carries a reflection of divine wisdom. Even the tiniest ant walking across your floor is part of that endless conversation between God and creation. The question is no longer, why are these ants here? Instead, it becomes, what is God telling me through them? Ants in their patience, persistence, order, and trust are mirrors of qualities that every soul is called to embody. They do not complain, they do not despair, and they do not abandon their purpose. They move with certainty, as if guided by an unseen command. Through them, God may be whispering into your heart, be patient, be disciplined, be united, and trust my wisdom. The real challenge lies in your response. Will you dismiss these signs as meaningless, or will you pause, reflect, and open yourself to their message? For in the smallest details of life, God hides the greatest truths. What looks like a minor interruption, a line of ants marching across your table, may in fact be a doorway to transformation, a reminder that abundance is near, that order must return, or that persistence is required for the next stage of your journey. Ibn Arabi often reminded seekers, do not stop at appearances. Look deeper, for every being is a verse in God's endless book. The ants you see are not merely insects. They are verses, reminders, silent teachers sent to awaken your heart. Their disciplined steps echo the eternal rhythm of creation, calling you to align yourself with the divine harmony that sustains the universe. So, the next time ants appear, receive them with awareness. Ask yourself, what is God teaching me here? What truth is being unveiled? Their presence may be the beginning of a new chapter, an opening of unseen blessings, or a gentle nudge guiding you back to your purpose. In the end, the ants remind us of a timeless truth. Nothing in existence is wasted. Nothing is random, and nothing escapes the wisdom of the Creator. All is part of the script, perfectly written, perfectly arranged. And if even the smallest of ants are woven into this divine design, then surely so are you.